Tonight on the fifth quarter, Mason Little Bo Peep shares his first round NHL picks. UConn and Butler tip off in Houston, and the Packers win the Super Bowl!
He scored! He could go all the way! Yankees win!
We're talking about practice.
Out of here! It's gone!
We begin tonight with the conclusion of the NCAA March Madness tournament. Last Tuesday, the UConn Huskies and the Butler Bulldogs met in Houston for the championship game of the men's basketball tournament. The Bulldogs have made it to the Final Four for the second straight year. Last year, they lost a 2-point game to Duke. Coming to this game, they held the number 8 seed and once again took on the underdog role. The game itself didn't quite live up to the hype. Both teams were tied with just 6 points in the first 5 minutes of the game. Butler would take a 22-19 lead into the half, making it the lowest halftime score in over 60 years. With 13 minutes left in the second half, UConn started to pull away and never looked back. They locked up on defense and got 16 points from Walker and 12 points from Lamb, leading them to a 53-41 victory over the Bulldogs. This championship marked the third championship for Jim Calhoun, making him the oldest coach to ever win a national championship at 68. On Saturday night, NASCAR raced at Texas for the first night race of the season. Carl Edwards led the field to the green flag, but it was Matt Kenseth who would take the checkered flag. The final 93 laps were caution-free, leading to many different strategies. With 13 laps left to go, Kurt Busch lost the lead to Matt Kenseth when he tried to stretch his fuel. He wasn't the only one to try and finish with an empty tank. Both Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart ran out of gas in the last lap. With the win at Texas, Kenseth snapped a winless streak that dates back to early 2009. The top 5 finishers included Clint Boyer, Carl Edwards, Greg Biffle, and Paul Menard. With the NBA season ending on Wednesday, the Los Angeles Lakers are on a 5-game losing streak. The New York Knicks, on the other hand, are on a 6-game winning streak, but let's be honest, they don't really stand to have a legitimate shot of winning anything anyways. The Chicago Bulls have now worked themselves to a 60-20 record and lead the East heading down the stretch. Duke freshman point guard Kyrie Irving has announced that he will enter the NBA draft after just 1 season at Duke. Freshman Derek Williams will also be joining Irving in the draft after just 1 season with the University of Arizona. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Mason Little Falker's first round NHL picks. Welcome back, everyone. Joining me is senior NHL correspondent Mason Little. He's going to go over some of the first round NHL playoffs. Mason, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, it's all set right now in the East. We'll start off there. The 1-8 matchup in the East is Washington and New York, and this is an interesting one. The Rangers actually won the regular season series here 3-1, including a 7-0 win in December and a 6-0 win in February, but they are depleted right now. They're without their best forward, Ryan Callahan, one of the best two-way forwards in the game, great shot blocker in Washington. That's a team that takes a lot of shots. They're going to need him. I think Washington takes that in 6. The 2-7 matchup in the East is Philadelphia and Buffalo. Now, that's another good one. Philadelphia has really been struggling lately. They're 8-8-7 in their last 23 games. Definitely not the way a number 2 seed should play. Whereas the Sabres have gone 28-11-6 since January 1, by far the best record in the East. This one comes down to goaltending. Ryan Miller won the Vezina last year, got Team USA to the silver in the Olympics. He's a whole lot better than anything the Flyers have. They have Sergei Bobrovsky, a Russian rookie, but he can't get it done come playoff time. I say the Sabres win that in 7 for the first real upset. The 3-6 matchup is Boston and Montreal. This is the NHL's most frequent playoff rivalry. The Canadiens are smaller and faster, but Boston is really skilled. They have a lot of size, and I think Tim Thomas, their goaltender, can shut them down. He set the NHL single-season save percentage record this year at .938, and I think Milan Lucic, 32 goals, 30 assists, and 121 penalty minutes. He's a rough guy. He can rough up the Habs. Boston takes that in 5. Now, the Penguins and the Lightning is the 4-5 in the East, and there's no word yet on Crosby's return, and Malkin's definitely out, so the Pens will be depleted, but I think the Lightning can make it close. The Penguins take that in 6 under head coach Dan Bylsma. Really helps them win that series, I think. In the West, you've got 1-8 Vancouver, Chicago. That's an interesting one. Chicago's ousted Vancouver each of the last 2 years in the postseason, but Vancouver is a better, stronger team this year. They've added Dan Hamhuis, Keith Ballard, Raffi Torres, and Corey Schneider. And Chicago lost a good amount of their team. Antti Niemi, Dustin Byfuglien, Andrew Ladd, and Ben Eager. I think the Canucks shake the Hawks this year in 5 games. San Jose and Los Angeles is a 2-7. San Jose has really been strong this year, especially offensively. Rookie Logan Couture has 30 goals. He's a fourth-line scoring threat for sure. And LA tried to beef up, adding Dustin Penner at the deadline, but he has just 2 goals in 19 games for Los Angeles. I don't think that'll be enough. The Sharks sweep them in 4 games. Detroit Phoenix is the 3-6. This is a rematch of last year's first-round series, which Detroit took in 7 games. Detroit, in my opinion, is the smartest team in the NHL. They control the puck in the offensive zone really well. Pavel Datsyuk is back from his injury, and I think he should stay out of the box enough to keep the veterans cool, keep Detroit to win that series in 5 games. And last but not least, the Anaheim Ducks and the Nashville Predators are the 4-5 matchup in the West. Corey Perry won the Rocket Richard for Anaheim with 50 goals, and I think he can lead them to really push this series to 7 games. But Pekka Rinne, Nashville goalie, will really make the difference here, along with Barry Trotz, Nashville coach. One of the most underrated coaches in the league, in my opinion. He's great with early leads, and with Rinne and net, they can really shut the Ducks down. I say Predators in 7, Blaine.
You heard it here first. Mason Little, he's from Canada, knows what he's talking about. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. We're now in our last segment called Unprofessional Advice. In a recent interview on HBO's Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, 4 former Auburn football players claimed that they received thousands of dollars in their careers at the university or in their recruiting process. Now, a good amount of my family attended the University of Alabama, so from the time I was little, I was raised to cheer against the War Eagle. But head coach Gene Chizik's comments recently brought my respect for the university to an all-time low. When asked to comment on the HBO special and its content, Chizik stated, "What's disturbing to me is that they interviewed other former Auburn football players who had exactly the opposite to say, but somehow or another that failed to make the air, unless I missed that section. So it saddens me that somebody is going to air a show with basically one side being shown. I think that's pathetic, and I think it's pure garbage." Chizik's sassy little comments failed to make any sense to me. Of course they only aired the bad stuff. What do you expect them to say? These guys got paid to play college football, but hey, that's only half the story. Those guys over there didn't. I agree that it's sad that we as a society hardly ever acknowledge those with integrity that work hard and do the right thing. But when the majority of collegiate athletes are only being paid with the experience and maybe some kind of scholarship, it's not fair that others are being paid thousands of dollars under the table just for the opportunity that tons of others would love to have. If I were in Coach Chizik's place, I honestly don't know what I would have said. But I don't think trying to put the blame on HBO for not showing the good side of these scandals was the right move. Oh, and I think Cam Newton's going to be a really sorry pro quarterback. That concludes our show for tonight. We really appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to join us next week to see my coverage of the Yankees-Rangers series live from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx.